Okay, welcome everyone, or those who are here, um, and those who are maybe watching from the live stream. My name is Maarten. I'm based in Belgium. I live in a city called Ghent. So if you don't like Brussels, please go to Ghent. It's a very nice city, very warm, very welcome. Everybody's very welcome. Here in Brussels, I would say just enjoy the good beer, but also stay safe. So I still hope you have a good time here in Brussels, but if you have time, please go to Ghent, visit that nice city, and you're always welcome to catch up with me. I'm more than happy to drink that beer with you in the nice scenery of Ghent. I work for Asta Foundation. I'm the head of Asta Foundation, and I'm here to talk a little bit regarding what we did, where we are, and what we are going to do as well for the next couple of quarters and next year as well. Those who are not familiar with Astar Network, we are mainly a protocol that is launched and out of Asia. So we are founded in Japan, and as you can see on the screen, most of the companies that we work with are Japanese-based companies, or companies who has the headquarter in, or a business unit in Japan. We've been mainly driving the adoption from the Asian market into our general purpose blockchain, and we are doing this with our L1. And I will start to show here, you see our strong presence in Japan, so we're working with Docomo, the largest telecom company. We also have a well-known partnership with Sony, who is now building out Web3 initiatives, who's building out as well their blockchain solutions at this stage, where we are supporting them as well for getting the adoption ready into Web3 and changing the sentiment of bringing more users or working with enterprises who already have user touch points and not trying to go into the same pool of the Web3 communities out there, but like really trying to work with enterprises who already has like a massive user touch points to work with us on building further on the Web3 initiatives. Astar itself, we are very active and still active in the Polkadot ecosystem. I have here Astar 1.0, Polkadot. This is more about our first phase. So Astar Network in general is like a generous purpose blockchain where we have multiple virtual machines. As you can see here, we have like an EVM environment. We also have like a WebAssembly environment. For those who are more challenging and looking for something new, you're always welcome to write smart contracts in Rust and deploy them on Astar Network. This is a little bit about an overview where we started. Actually, Astar Network itself started in 2019. But in 2019, it was called Plasm, where we were working on Plasma and ZK Planck solutions on the layer 2 already in 2019. But at that point in 2019, there was no scaling solutions needed. So we had to pivot to something else. So that's where we started to build out like a smart contract environment, building on Polkadot, because that's where we saw the biggest things coming out. So in 2021, we won the third parachain on Polkadot after Akala and Moonbeam. In 2022, we launched our Astar dApp staking. This is still one of our unique features, a one-of-a-kind staking solutions where we bring value to developers building as well as users staking on this mechanism. As you can see here as well, in September 12, we launched Astar XVM. This is a cross-virtual machine where smart contracts in the same environment can interrupt with each other and call with each other. And then other things as well later on that you can see here as well on this list. Then we launched Astar 2.0. This is where Astar went into the Ethereum space, and we were looking to find solutions on the layer 2 side. And I put this slide in to make like, to clarify why we made that decision of building or expanding our tech stack to a layer 2 as well. In the first one, when you see scalability, cost, speed, security, yes, this is all already available in the tech stack of Polkadot, and it's there. It's the best out there as well. But we were looking for more growth, and we were looking for growth to reduce the burden of Web3 builders, and as well for the liquidity. And the major liquidity is, of course, always to be found still in the Ethereum space. So we saw this was a nice way of expanding our tech stack from Polkadot as well into the L2 space. This is an overview of different kind of layer 2s that are out there. Most of you already know what rollups are. People know as well maybe what validiums are or side chains. You can see examples as well of those chains who are using those different kinds of tech stacks. For the AstraZeekI EVM, we choose Validium. Why we chose to use Validium, it's mainly for the off-chain data availability layer and making it more modular than just going with a rollup. This decision was made before the Duncan release on Ethereum, where you have the introduction of the blobs. Now you see that those Validiums are not so much being marketed at this moment, and everything is going back into the rollups. You still have as well a lot of side chains. Most familiar one is the Polygon POS. So when we made the decision of going to the L2 landscape, we were working very closely with the Polygon Labs and the Polygon Foundation, where they introduced us into the Polygon CDK or the Polygon CDK tech stack. This was a great opportunity for us because then we had immediately the chance of going into Polygon by using their ag layer solutions and so on and so on. This is a little bit more about the scaling solution of Polygon. And this is how our tech stack at this current stage looks like, is that we have our Polkadot environment with Astar Native, where we have Rust environment, where you can build WASM smart contracts, Ink smart contracts, and so on. We have an EVM environment, and as well we have an AstraZeekI EVM environment that is connected through the Polygon ag layer, as well as using the Polygon CDK tech stack. We did this mainly to enhance our growth, to enhance our liquidity, but of course we had to make sure that there is a full interruptibility layer between those two chains. This is where we had a good partnership with Layer 0, where they supported us for bringing the assets of the Astar L1 or Polkadot into our L2 on Ethereum and to utilize this as well. One thing that we found out by going into the L2 landscape from our point of view as a protocol, it was much more easier to onboard those tier 1 infrastructure partners. There's always a difficulty when going with infrastructure partners in the current market to get them integrated in something new, get them integrated in something new protocol. This was very challenging for us. The moment we started working with our L2, we had much more opportunities. This means that an integration with the graph was done within only a couple of weeks of negotiation, while we were already talking with them for multiple years on our Polkadot network. Other solutions like Layer 0, they were very difficult to get. Things like Gelato or Economy or Web3, they were all very difficult to get them onto the Polkadot ecosystem itself or into our Astar network. Now, when we launched our L2, we had a great opportunity to get them, but also make a bundle deal to also get them on the Polkadot side, which was very great for us because our current builders could also use this in their trusted environment and new builders in a new environment. So this was a great opportunity for us. This is more about where our strengths are as well. But first, I would like to go a little bit deeper into the Polygon CDK. And this is because this topic is about our key learnings. What we learned is that many of those L2 tech stacks are at this point a little bit oversold in the way of, yes, in their eyes, they are production ready. Are they really production ready and battle tested in the real market? I would say we can only know a couple if you think about it. This was one of the learnings that we got as well, that we were going into an L2 space with a not yet proven tech stack. And it cost us a lot of headaches and a lot of problems as well. And we learned a lot from this. If you look at building out a substrate chain, what do you have? You have immediately the decentralized validators or the collators, and everything runs even though some collators goes down. If you go to the L2, if the sequencer node stops and there's no fallover, your blockchain just stops. There's no decentralized point there. And this is very important that a lot of people maybe overestimate and see that the L2 is still like a very trusted, decentralized place. It's still like heavily being developed, I would say. So we learned a lot about our L2 launch in the sense that we were using like a tech stack of Polygon CDK, where we were working with a REST provider, Gelato. Gelato was the one that built out our all the infrastructure for this L2 because it was one of the requirements to go with Polygon CDK. Later, we found out that this is not like very reliable of going with a REST provider when you already have like a very skilled DevOps and infrastructure team in your team. So how did we solve this issue in the sense of working with a REST provider? We recently did like a full migration from their REST provider into our current infrastructure. We really did like a full migration from one infrastructure to a new infrastructure. This has not done before, especially in the CDK side. And now everything is under our control. And what we immediately found is that doing it in-house and doing it with the experience that you have from Polkadot by running your L1, it was immediately scalable by 10x when doing with a REST provider. Because we have the experience of running the infrastructure of L1 by building it out on bare metals, building a different cloud service, building a mesh network, building all those kind of toolings. Working with a REST provider, you do not have control over that. So this is something that we learned as well from building out with Polkadot, is that if you run a successful parachain with growth and with users, I would say you have a very skilled team on building this out. You can be sure that that team has more capabilities than any other just regular, let me say, L2. So this was one of our learnings that we got out of this. Another learning that we got is that by working with a lot of enterprises and learning about where to go for mass adoption, what everybody is saying from Web 2 to Web 3 are just saying, bring it to a decentralized world, is the security. One thing that we found out by working with those enterprises is that they do heavily security, pen testing, threat modeling, and so on to make sure that the tech stack that they will be using or selecting is like fully supported by that enterprise. A lot of the current Web3 products out there has not yet passed those kind of testing. In the way it's all been done by auditors, it's done by people also, let me say, new in the space, but like working with like a company, for instance, I would say 2 days ago, I was at the Sony R&D center here in Brussels. So everything that Sony develops goes to the security modeling here in Brussels, where they do all the penetration testing of all the hardware and everything related to Sony products. I had a discussion with them regarding different kinds of tech stacks and how they would do like real pen testing and penetration security testing and so on. They already did some tech stacks, and I got some results. I will not share this because it's like private information, but some didn't even went over 30% of like how a Web 2 company would really do like security testing. So, and I think this is an opportunity what we are currently doing as well with Asta Foundation. It's working with those enterprises who can guarantee and can do that security testing for us. So we are working with them to make sure that the security, when we move forward in L2 or in the next thing that we will be doing as well with Asta Network, can be supported by those security teams in the Web 2 space. Let me go further. Feel free as well to just raise your hand or ask questions. I know I have a lot of learnings from building this out, so I'm more than happy to listen to some of the questions that you might have if you would like to know more about this. Another thing that we have been doing now with Asta Network is that Asta Network is now part of Startail. And Startail is an equity company that we also raised to work closer as well with enterprise adoption in Japan. Startail itself is also founded in Japan. Some of the stakeholders in Startail are Sony, are UOB, are Samsung next. So we are working with enterprises in this equity company, and we are using the experience that we got from Astar Network on the different tech stacks to make sure that they have the right advisory and the right steps forward on building things for the mass adoption that everybody wants to have. So this is a latest thing that we have been doing. I did add as well some appendix here, just to showcase the difference when it comes to testing. So this is our ZK monitoring. This is our L2 monitoring system. This is where we can see how much traction do we got. This is like an older picture, by the way, where you can see the batch, the TPS that is coming to your network, how does the current block things goes, and so on and so on. But if you look at an L1, this looks like much more complicated. I didn't have the chance to go all over the dashboards, but there's much more that you can monitor than you can monitor in an L2. Also, one of our key learnings that we got. This is an architecture of how an L2 works. I will not go over it fully because it's too small, and also I'm not the best technical guy here in this room. But to have some questions from the audience, that would be great if you would like to know more regarding this L2. I'm not so sure if there's like a mic available or not, otherwise. No? Is there a mic?
Thank you. Thanks for the talk. I'm just curious why you chose the Polygon CDK, and if you think it is possible to build an L2 using Substrate maybe, and how that would look like if it's something you consider. And if you can also speak a bit about like what DA provider you chose and why, and if anything in the Polkadot ecosystem could be a DA solution for an Ethereum L2.
Okay, I didn't get your second question, but I will maybe ask later. But why did we choose CDK? Maybe this was also one of our learnings because we did it mainly for the growth and for the business deal as well. So we did like a full test of the tech stack. Let me say we failed on that part by going after like what was the best at that point that we can bring traction into the market for our growth. Later on, we found out that going for the fast growth is not always the best approach to go. So this was also one of the learnings that we got. Coming as well to your next question, are you looking into bringing this ZK EVM as well into Substrate? Yes, we are currently looking in a way of, that's why we chose Validium as well, because we have options of the DA layer. Currently, our DA layer is a DAC, Decentralized Data Availability Committee. But this makes it easier for us to choose as well the DA layer if we want to build this out on Substrate and plug it into Astar Network, or even as a sidechain of Astar Network or an L2 on Astar Network. So we are currently as well doing this as well async with other things that we are doing with some of the research and development team of see how we can plug this now in, because now we have the option to utilize certain components in another way. And this is done currently as well with the AG layer of Polygon itself. Polygon itself is also looking for the AG layer to be connected in other ecosystems, like near Polkadot or any other things. They want to also make like the interop layer as well, similar to the OP stack. Well, OP is only for the sidechains, but they want to connect as well much more. So we are working with them as well to make this happen. But I don't see it in the short future, that's why.
Awesome, thanks.
Any other questions that might come up that you would like to say? I see some of our Astar ambassadors. Maybe you guys have any questions. You can always ask me now. Okay, yes, you just waved, I think. So if there are no further questions, I want to thank everybody for listening. You can always contact me on Telegram or find me on Twitter. My name is Maarten Henskens, head of Astar Foundation. Feel free to reach out, and I'm always open to have like a nice conversation. Thank you.